everyone present for the late evening show with TEDxDTU. I would like to extend a warm welcome to Dr. Maliha and Sakshi Pasricha, the guest speakers for today's event, and the audience who are virtually present with us to witness this show. The world around us is shaped by ideas to successfully celebrate and share the prowess of intellect. TED was founded in February 1984 as a conference which has been held annually since 1990. With the vision, ideas worth sharing, TED, technology, entertainment, and design has redefined creativity and innovation worldwide. Pioneers from diverse fields have contributed to TED, making it a global phenomenon. Delhi Technological University is honored to carry forward this legacy. With the resources and the excellent backing provided by our DTU faculty, TEDxDTU, even in these unprecedented times, move forward with online iterations of the conference. Now let's talk about the theme of the event. The theme, Insight of Your Mind, beautifully focuses on the art of subconsciously training our mind and experiencing tranquility. Amidst this pandemic, focusing on mental health is a challenge for all of us. We often fail to realize that the strongest people out there are those who win battles we know nothing about. With this thought, let's start today's session by inviting our first speaker for the day, Dr. Maliha, to give us an insight of our mind. I would like to inform the audience that we will be having a Q&A session after our guest speaker speeches. The audience is requested to type out their questions for the speakers on the live chat box. About our first speaker, Dr. Maliha Hasham Sable is founder and director at Healthy Mind, a mental health clinician, an UK accredited psychotherapist, and a Rehabilitation Council of India recognized researcher. She has been specializing in mental health for years by applying her education, knowledge, and expertise in this field. She's actively contributing to help people seek rich and standardized treatment. Due to an excellent insight of R&D, she has been awarded numerous accolades for her own clinical research. She's been awarded twice in India for her work, with an honor of receiving an Indian Achievers Award this year. Dr. Maliha will be speaking on an exemplary genre of stress. Yes, ma'am, you can start with this.
Thank you so much for this amazing and wonderful introduction of mine. First of all, thank you again to have me here with Ted. And it's been lovely to join in and present a talk on mental health in this unprecedented times, actually. So, to begin, I would like to ask all the audience, which is looking me, observing me right now, have you ever wondered or realized that you get a lot of negative thoughts when you are stressed? Anyone? Let's just say the moment you realize that you are getting negative thoughts is the moment you understand that you are stressed. All this time, I have been treating patients from all over the globe under my brand, The Healthy Mind. And trust me, the journey has been intriguing so far. With all the 100% recovery rates I am getting. But with passing time, I thought of indulging new procedures, new techniques, new findings into my practice. And I came across a lot of research for that, for research works. And I thought of binging onto some research findings. Two or more caught my eye, but only one actually shook me off. It made me wonder, can it really happen? I'll tell you what I'm talking about actually. I know you all are right now blank that what am I actually speaking on. So I'll tell you that. But before that, I thought of experimenting it myself. I thought of trying it myself. I believed that maybe I may get a result and maybe I might get the result to be right. So what this research was actually about was stress. Yes, as today I'm speaking on an exemplary genre of stress. I'll play a story for you, okay? Um, Quite a clinical but fun story. So what I did personally, I thought of, as I told you, experimenting this research. I divided my patients into two groups. The one group of patients was where I actually told them to avoid stressors, which actually means to not get involved in stressful events, to actually find yourself a procedure technique, which I helped them learn actually. And I told them to use it whenever they are in stressful situation. And the other group was of one which I again told them, I helped them learn procedures, techniques, methods to manage stress. But here there was a twist. I actually told them to take stress. Isn't it interesting? Let's see the results now. I thought, what will be the results? But actually, it was again shocking for me. The results were something that I never thought of. Though I got 100% recovery rates again, but this time the group of patients which I asked to take stress were actually recovering speedily as compared to those groups that was actually avoiding stressful events. You getting my point? So this was really intriguing for me again. And what I'm trying to indicate here basically is, taking stress, being stressed is not a big deal, but maintaining the stress level is. Just let's perform an activity now, okay, to give you a better, clear idea. Right now, for the people who are watching me, I want you all to sit calm, okay, and grab anything that is besides you. Maybe a pen, maybe a book, anything. Just get those. I'll wait for 30 seconds. I hope everybody has got something in their hands, right? Okay. Now I have got this phone in my hand. You have to place this phone in your right palm. Just place it. Maybe anything you have right now, just place it in your right palm. Okay? So I have something. I have an object in my right palm. Here, there is nothing. It's empty, right? Where is more weight? Where do you feel the load? In right palm, isn't it? Obviously, yeah. So let's assume this object to be a stress. Okay. So when that phone was on my right palm, I actually felt a weight over my body, right? Over my palm. So let's consider this palm to be my whole body. Okay. And this object was stress. So now let's see it in a different manner. When I kept an object, any object it was useful for me, right? It was some or the other way useful to me. In case it's not useful, I can still sell it. It can be useful then, right? Here, indicating right palm, the object was useful, but indicating left palm, there is empty hand. There is nothing. Though it's light, then the weight of stress over your body, it's lighter. But if we see it clearly, it's useless. There is nothing here. But at the same time, here it's useful. Again, if we see in our life, in any situation, this stress on our body actually gives us a load, actually gives us a weight which we are frustrated of, which we are not able to handle. But yet, it is still useful. I'll tell you how. Even in this unprecedented times, due to that level of stress, you get up from your bed, you still think to work off, you still think to get up and get your works done. Isn't it? Agreed? Yes, I agree to it. But again, the level of stress matters. Low, moderate, or we could tell mild, moderate, severe. In the normal language, low, medium, high. Until the stress was mild, which is low, it is your friend. Once it rises, it becomes your enemy. Now, the question here that arises is how to maintain the mild stress level, something that we don't know about. Now, what you have to do is you have to find the answer within yourself. I won't talk spiritual, but this is something scientific. The answer is in your minds. I pointed on one question at the beginning, indicating negative thoughts when get overfilled. Actually, when you realize that, you realize that you are stressed at that particular moment, right? I keep on repeating this. Start analyzing yourself. Start analyzing that you are getting negative thoughts right now. The moment you realize that you are overfilled with negative thoughts, will be the moment you will ask yourself to inhale slowly, hold your breath, and exhale out slowly. It will eventually break the cycle of overthinking. We all have this issue. What do we do for overthinking? We overthink a lot on any issue. Might be just what am I doing here? Why am I listening this talk? Do I have something? Right? So maybe you could do that exercise and you could break your cycle of overthinking. The heart of the talk is here. Until the stress level is medium or it's mild, you are good to act. But when it rises, it's miserable, leading to negative consequences. Trust me, change your perceptions about situations, about things. Things will turn into better. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such an inspiring talk.
Thank you so
Next,
much.
I would like to introduce our next speaker of the event, Sakshi Pasricha. Sakshi Pasricha is an experienced learning and development professional with 9 years of corporate experience in India and UAE. She's been training diverse groups across industries in soft and behavioral skills and self-development areas, and coaching individuals and professionals at different levels. Working with different nationalities has given her a broader understanding of human behavior. Sakshi's audiences have been as diverse as her own life experiences. Whether she's fostering self-reflection, realization, and belief among university students, or facilitating a workshop with professionals, she stresses the importance of self-awareness and importance of having a purpose in life. Sakshi ma'am will talk on load unload. That is how an overloaded mind looks like and what to do to get it back on track.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction, first of all. And it's my first time with TED. So thank you so much for the invitation. Well, to begin with, I'm not going to tell you how it looks like. I want you to take the whole experience of how it feels like to be overloaded. So anybody who's listening to me, I'm just going to request you to close your eyes and just follow my instructions. And don't open your eyes. Just keep it closed. When I ask you to open, just open. So we'll do a very short, quick one just to give you a taster of how it looks like. So I would request everybody to close their eyes. And now imagine yourself walking to your kitchen of your house. Just imagine yourself walking into the kitchen of your house. Now open the fridge and take out the milk. Put the pan on the stove and just pour the milk into the pan. While we are pouring the milk, just add some more cheese. You can open the fridge, add some more cheese. take that lemon as well, squeeze that lemon, put that cheese into the same pan. There's some more pineapple in the fridge. Let's just put that as well. Let's take out the ketchup, which we can see, and pour that into the pan. There's some mashed potatoes as well, leftovers from yesterday. Let's just use them and pour them in the pan. Add some more water. There's a pack of bread as well. Just take out a couple and put it in the pan. There's one muffin. Feel free to add that as well. You can also see a yellow color bottle which says honey mustard. Just take that and pour it into the pan. There's also broccoli and bitter gourd. Just put them as it is into the mixture. Last but not the least, since we've not added any spices, just add some salt, pepper, red chilies, and just stir it. Give it a good stir. I mean, you've done quite a lot of work here. Give it a good stir. Switch off the gas and just look at it. Let's say it's um, it's done now. Just pour the mixture onto the plate. Look at that plate. Look at what you have cooked there. And now answer yourself honestly. Would you allow yourself to eat that dish that you have just made? Be honest to yourself. Would you eat what you have just made? Well, I believe and I hope that your answer is no, because that was dumping and not creating. Well, I hope that you didn't not even just feel like eating or tasting it. I am hoping that looking at what you have just made you feel a bit more disgusted, because as I said, we were dumping the content, we were dumping the ingredients, but we were actually not creating anything out of it. Now, here we are talking about the dish, but every single day we are feeding our mind. Whether you call it a dish, food, or diet plan, every single day we're giving our brain something that is absolutely not required, something that's not going to do any good to our brain. And we start doing the feeding to our mind right in the morning. The moment we get up in the morning, first thing we tend to do, most of us, or let's say a lot of us, is to look at our phones and start our day with social media. Now imagine that you start your day with social media whereby you're looking at your friends doing a lot in your life, in their lives. You look at their life, their dreams, their lifestyle, their family, their dreams, their values, whatever they want to do, you're looking at that right in the morning, and all you're feeling within yourself is, or you're commenting on their status feeling, oh great, congratulations, I feel happy for you. When inside, all you're trying to feel is, I don't even know what happiness really is. Now, this is just one example from starting from helping you to taste that first dish to helping you realize that a lot of us start our day in a way that's absolutely unhealthy to our mind, whereby we discussed about social media for an example here. Understand that your mind
I think Anurag, Miss Sakshi has been interrupted by some network issue, but she shall get here soon.
Hello, guys. Yes, ma'am. Sakshi ma'am has been, she's facing a few technical issues and she'll be back soon. So, wait for her. Yes, Sakshi ma'am's back. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I'm so sorry for that disconnection. Thanks to the technology. So, starting your day right with overloading your mind with literally everything that comes on your way is absolutely the worst way to train your mind for a great, successful, happy, healthier life. The taster that you got initially from the dish that you created is no different from the diet that we all have been feeding somewhere our mind every single day. Now, if you resonate with anything that I have said so far, then it'll make a lot of sense to you guys that the way we start our day makes a whole lot of sense to how we carry on our day. Now, the overloaded mind might not visibly look like the dish that you just saw and felt disgusted about, but it for surely uh, cry out loud in the way that makes you feel somewhere around the lines of not able to think properly. You will not be able to decide, take even the smallest actions. You'll not be able to sometimes talk to people. You'll not be able to sometimes connect your own thoughts. A lot of times, overloading your mind with a lot of information of any sort also leads to mind feeling that I have really no clue what are you expecting out of me, and getting so confused that eventually it leads to anxiety. Now, again, if this connects to you, I'm going to give you 3 simple steps to start with. Now, yes, I'm saying simple. I'm not saying they're easy, but they're simple. First one to start with, since if any one of you is feeling overwhelmed, and like I was told that this event is specially curated for freshers. So you're going to be starting university, or you've already just recently started university, you know the kind of load and the pressure that's going to come forward. So one of the first thing that I would personally highly recommend, and that has been well researched as well, is called as you intentionally have some unfocused time in the day. Now, why am I recommending unintentional, unfocused time is so that you're consciously planning a time in the day when you allow yourself to be consciously distracted. But we still have an objective in our mind when we do that. When you allow yourself to have 15, 20, and if possible, 30 minutes of consciously not doing anything, you are allowing your mind to connect the information that we all have been collecting from various resources, and especially to the students for whom this event is meant or curated. You give time to yourself to connect the information rather than to collect the information. We all have been collecting information all this while. The first thing to, I would say, unload the mind is to give that break, that pause to our mind to breathe. So I wouldn't even say go to the second step of what I'm saying. Build at least a habit of putting 15, 20 minutes in a day where you don't do anything and you just allow your mind to be. That is bare minimum as the first start to get yourself back on the track. Because right now, when your mind is overloaded, it doesn't even know the track. So it can't get back to the track in the first place. So first is to give that space to our mind to breathe and not pour in any more information. You can try this up with a little bit of physical exercise of walking inside your room if you can't go outside, or even with deep breathing. Whichever way, both combined has got 2 objectives here. It'll help you to connect and not collect more information, and it'll clearly uh, help your mind and your body to relax, because that is exactly what we need when the mind is overloaded. Then I would highly suggest, since it's meant for students, and I know a lot of students are habitual in terms of creating, career goals, your education goals, but I would highly recommend to have a more holistic approach towards gradually creating goals for even your physical health, your mental, and your emotional well being. Have recreational goals. Have something that helps you to uh, consciously distract yourself from your main work, which is study at this point in time. And if there are more listeners, then you can take on to the same context of work as well. But have a more holistic approach towards goal setting. And now, why am I mentioning about goal setting? Brain usually gets overloaded when it doesn't have a direction to go to, when it doesn't actually have any clue of where to go, what to do next. If you break down your goals and you create tasks for every day, the smaller the better. If a mind is overloaded, I would never say create big goals. Start with really small goals. Start with goals, and that will give your mind a direction, and it will help you to get back your scattered focus onto something that you want in the first place. So going back to the dish, you're not just dumping anything that comes on your way, you're being more conscious and intended towards where you're moving. But first, before you reach here, I would say give intentional, unfocused time so that you can unload a lot of things and give that space to your mind to connect the information that's already in your mind. And especially at the level of studying, when you're school, university, whichever level, highly recommended, because you need that break to connect the dots, to connect the information that you've been taking from YouTube, your books, and listening to us, so many things. So I would highly recommend to start practicing right after, when we finish this. Third step is start reflecting your whole day. Once you feel that you're a little better in terms of unloading, and you've started to set your small goals, start reflecting towards the end of the day. What have I done in the entire day? Start asking yourself questions. So, how did I start my day today? What did I actually do? How did I feel the entire day? Who did I speak to? How did my conversations go? This will help you to, again, have a more controlled approach towards your life and not go through those moments of, I don't even know where the day went. I don't even know what did I do the entire day. The more sense of control you have, the more the mind feels that, oh yes, I know where I'm heading. And with this, gradually combine it with a little bit of visualization. If you feel that your days are not going as per your goals, or you're a little bit shaky in terms of what you set for yourself, start the practice of visualizing of how would it look like for you when you're achieving even those smaller bits of goals. Because that, I call visualization as priming your brain. You're priming your mind because it doesn't understand the difference between the reality and the imagination. So why not to leverage and take advantage of it? Overloaded mind gets very addicted to whatever comes on its ways, because all it needs is, I just want to be busy, I don't want to think. I just want to be busy, I don't want to think. To break that cycle, we're going to go just in steps. Number one, intentional, unfocused breaks, and schedule it. Highly recommended, schedule it in your calendar so that you don't just, you don't burden your brain for remembering the information. We're trying to loosen it up. We're trying to unload it and not load it with anything new. Start there. I would say there's no one size fit all solution to things. That's what I've realized since I've coaching and training people. There's no one size fit all. We always say, try and test it out and see how you feel, and then curate your journey. Once you start to feel a little bit better, set yourself very small goals just so that your mind knows that there's some direction it needs to move, and it'll automatically help you to start moving in that direction of the goal that you want to achieve. The more focused you are on your goal, the lesser you would want to occupy yourself with anything and everything that comes on your way. And that's exactly what we need to do. And after that, end of the day reflection, just to make sure you feel more controlled and you're able to see whether you're moving in the right direction. And in case not, then definitely adding up with visualization of how a perfect day of achieving your micro goals look like. All of this put together, again, I would remind you before I close this talk, is the very first step is the actual groundwork for the next two steps. If your mind is really overloaded and you're starting your day with too much of information, and if you're not giving any break, any pause, any space to your mind to think, to just connect what is happening around it, then none of the other steps would actually work. So since I understand that when you're new to university, there's a lot of new things that are going to come on your way. Apart from studying, there'll be a lot of new people, their values, their dreams, their background, their experience. A lot of it would get merged into let's say you, just to make sure that we're able to distinguish between what we want from life and what other person want from their life. It's much recommended that we slow down and give ourselves this time, this pause, this intentional, unfocused time, just to connect our own dots. And at this point in time, if you don't want to do anything, absolutely okay. The only objectives to start with this small step is to give that pause, to give that break to your mind from any sort of information to enter in your mind, especially social media, books, anything for that matter. So have this intentional breaks so that it's a conscious distraction instead of unconscious distraction into things. So build up every single day habits instead of looking at massively changing your life someday. Start really small, start giving yourself these kind of breaks, and then slowly, once you feel better, once you feel more settled within yourself, then I would say set up more holistic goals and then get into reflecting on your day and visualizing, just to make sure that your journey becomes better and more focused, because mind needs to see it first to believe that it's possible. But we'll only reach to that stage once we start to unload what, the quantity and the kind of information we take on each and every day. So I would say try this out. And I'm very sure the first step, if it's carried out consistently for a month, you will see a huge difference, and the other two steps would be very natural, because your brain, your mind will be clear, will come back stronger and sharper and more creative, and it'll ask you, and it'll give you more space to create more goals and something to look forward to, but only when it has space to breathe. So, well, on that note, I would say good luck to the new students and everybody else who's listening. And I hope you try these things out, and look forward to hear from you if you notice any difference, which I'm very sure if it's practiced consistently, you will definitely be able to see a lot of difference in unloading yourself, unloading your mind, and getting yourself back on the track. Thank you.
Thank you, Sakshi, for the insightful words. Next, we're going to move on to the Q&A session. Today, we are pleased to have in our midst speakers from all walks of life who are here to share their unique stories. Before we proceed with the Q&A, I'd like to inform our audience there will be a short Q&A session. If anyone would like to pose a question to the speaker, please raise your hand or type the question in the chat box. As per the time available, we'll try our best to get your questions answered. Without any further delay, let's get into the session. Right, here so we have our first question. We have been told our minds are like supercomputers, yet we say we're getting overloaded. Why is that? So that's the first question.
Well, I can't see Dr. Wait. So for me, I think I'm just going to say that I think it's high time that we've been comparing our mind with computer for quite some time. I think it's time that we stop doing that for the right reason, and because that is somewhere making us overutilize our minds to an extent that it's getting to a point where they're actually somewhere stopping to work. So I would say let's just start to change the way we're kind of comparing our minds to, and what do we compare them with, because I think that comparison has actually led us to over exploit. I think that's the right word, over exploit our mind. What do you say, Maliha, about it?
Yeah, definitely. I would agree to you, Sakshi. And also, I would like to mention this. I was waiting to mention this actually. The example you gave at the beginning about all those foods, and of course, everybody's mouth was watering. That is a different story. But after making a food which was disgusting enough, and then you told about how like mine gets loaded, was really, really, good example to understand that how important it is to start a day with something light, also with your health and your mind. So I would agree to you, Ms. Sakshi, definitely.
I think it'll be good to think of your mind as a small child. I think it's high time we kind of get more softy on our mind. So look it at
Definitely, yeah.
as a small child. And now, how would you train that small child every single day, just like how parents have worked on us every single day? I think if you switch the way you look at it, we might all become a bit more compassionate in the way we deal with our minds. That's what I think.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. Now we have our next question. Reed Hastings once said that Netflix's only competition is YouTube and sleep. When today's digital companies target people's health, more specifically mental health, how difficult is it for you to anticipate or make them aware that they're being robbed of their health?
Okay, I did get disconnect. There was a little bit of lag in
Yeah,
the last
I'll
few
repeat the
lines. Could you
question
repeat
again.
that?
Yes, ma'am, sure. Reed Hastings once said that Netflix's only competition is YouTube and sleep. When today's digital companies target people's health, more specifically mental health, how difficult is it for you to help them rehabilitate or make them aware that they're being robbed of their health?
Like how difficult it is for us to explain them. Is it what the question means?
Yes, ma'am. So how will you
Mhm.
help them get out of it? How will you, so let's just say people are addicted to Netflix or something, right? In this generation,
Yeah,
everyone is. So how would
I
you
get
help
it.
people focus on their goals? And yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. Trust me on this. I would ask them to just binge onto Netflix. I would do that. But at the same time, thinking for mental health, I believe it should be in a duration, because not just youngsters or not just kids or not just adults. It's like a whole era is into the digital world, and some or the other is happening with their minds. I would say that everything is okay. Do whatever you would like to, but one thing I would explain them is making a duration. Don't go for binging it for whole day. Remember, you have work to do, you have a life to handle. So make sure you have to plan a routine accordingly, not by writing it down or reading it out slowly and faster. No, just make a routine in your mind that yes, you have a life, you have to do these things, you have to sort them out, you have a day to plan it. Okay, I'm into digital world, I get it. You have to post on Instagram, you have to go and chat on Facebook, you have to Netflix. Everything is fine, but it should be at a time, maybe in evening 15 minutes, maybe at the night 15 minutes. Distribute the hour which you have, and just utilize your day. Everything is okay, but in a right manner.
I totally
Sakshi,
agree to
I would
you.
like, yeah.
I agree to you, Maliha. And in addition to that, I think it's high time that all of us somewhere become curious about our mind and body somewhere. So,
Hmm.
the way probably, in addition to what you said, I would also like to probably approach it from the angle of responsibility that each one of us holds to understand ourselves first. So I think
Yes, that is right.
we all know what social media is trying to do. We all know what Netflix is trying to do. We all know what YouTube is trying to do. So now, are we saying that we can't control our own urges, or we can't control our day just because the way their systems are working? Then that lacks a lot of understanding of how our mind and behavior works. So I think I would probably approach it from the angle of, start becoming curious about how your mind, how your body, and how your brain really works. The moment you have that understanding, you will start to have that control in your hand automatically. Then you don't need, probably you might need both of us for a session or a workshop. You might not even need it right now. Go on YouTube, start studying about mind, and start studying about what happens to the information when it goes inside your brain. The moment you have that awareness, you will automatically start becoming more conscious about what kind of content do you take in. So I think
Definitely.
we might, yes, we are sitting here as experts of our fields. However, a lot of us would agree that yes, we can give out information, but ultimately, unless the audience, whoever is listening, becomes curious about, oh yeah, I actually don't know what happens to the information, then it goes in my head. If you're watching Mirzapur, if you're watching Game of Thrones, and you don't know how that raw content or that information, what can it do to you, your values, your beliefs, what kind of fear it can instill in you, how it can play with your mind on the personal life level, then I think these few lines can just, if they can make you curious enough to learn by yourself, I think we both have done our job. Because uh,
Yeah.
as adults, of whoever is listening, I would say a little bit of curiosity of understanding how these portions are really impacting your life, your day-to-day life, your relationships, your belief systems, the way you look at even success today. Levels are changing because of social media and movies and so many things. So I think the only thing we can do today, Maliha and me, can just make you curious about the fact that there's much more happening inside you. And the moment you start to learn about yourself, I think you will gradually get to the point where we are. But it's going to take some time, and it'll take a lot of curiosity for you guys to, uh, you know, rather than binge watching Netflix. Once you get to the point of what am I really doing in my life? Who am I? What are my thoughts? What am I made up of? You'll automatically start to, become curious and have more right knowledge in your mind, I would say.
I'm absolutely agreeing to that point. Definitely. We can move on
Next
to
question.
next question. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Next question. Given the nature of your work, you help your patients deal with their personal experiences and challenges. Do you ever get burned out? How do you deal with this? Is it difficult at times to separate yourselves from work?
Okay. So you would like to go first, Sakshi?
I'm okay to go first. I think it's absolutely honest answer that I'm going to say next. That yes, it's not very easy to be a life coach, to choose a career where you're all about helping and supporting and empowering people to uh, to be able to handle their life, their careers, their relationships well. So it's not a very easy journey to take. um, so it does take a toll sometimes, but which is exactly why I think perhaps Maliha, the way I think our conversation went, would also agree that
Yes.
we first have to go through the journey that we're telling you today. So nothing that is coming out is anything that we both haven't done, because that would clearly show on our faces. So I think it does take a toll sometimes, but I think we first instill those habits, those beliefs, those perceptions, those principles in ourselves to be able to sitting here right in front of you and talking to you, because we are doing that work in our own life as well. So it does take a toll, but the moment you start building your life around good systems and good habits, to keep it very simple, it just allows you to be in the right energy and the mindset, and to approach the client with the right mindset. So, unless we give ourselves this direction and a lot of clarity every single day, and unless we are working on the things that we're asking our clients to work on, we won't be in the shape to even work with clients. So yes, it does take a toll, but we do work on it consistently to be able to help some other person to take their journey of life in the manner they want to take.
Okay. So the question was about if we get burned out. Okay. Now, I would like to answer this in a way that it's our work. We can't get burned out because if we have to handle it. What else we can do? Okay. Kidding? No. Actually, I would answer it in a serious manner that yes, we have come in a field where we have to handle people's challenges, people's feelings. And someday it becomes so, so emotionally hectic that we don't know that if we want to go forward or not. But we have come in this field with a motto. Okay, we are here because we want that whenever you come to us, you feel that you are in the right hands, actually in the excellent hands, that we won't just go up there and we will try something on you. No, it has to happen in a good and excellent manner. So I believe getting burned out won't be a solution over there. Yes, we do, but also when we get on grounds, when we are in the setup, we always make up our minds that today, whoever is coming to us should get the treatment they deserve, and not something that should be from, of something that is just to be given. No, it should be something that is very prioritized.
And not to forget that no, our lives are not perfect in any means. There are a lot of challenges that just like anybody else we all go through. But like I said, and like what Maliha also mentioned, we have taken a choice. It's a choice that we have made to be in the field, to be of service to others. So with that, it comes, a lot of things comes as a package, and we learn with our own ways to tackle our things on time, in time. And again, it's a lifelong journey, so nobody is perfect who would not go through moments in life. It's just that handling becomes a lot easier and faster with time as you practice, I would say. That's where
Yes.
at least I come from.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So moving to the next question. Now that you've given us steps we could take on a personal level, the remaining chunk of the problem is that people who face such issues usually hesitate to come forward and open up. In many cases, that is the main problem. What could we do to make ourselves better equipped to help other people, or before that even they get to know that they're facing issues? In most cases, we fail to find out our friends or loved ones are going through something, and we only find out once it's too late. What could we do to make ourselves more observant of people around us? Or like what behavioral traits can we easily identify in people struggling with mental health issues?
Okay. So, you don't have to read and read to know if your loved one is suffering from something. You just need to observe, I would say. Only behavior changes that you could observe is sleep pattern. If the sleep pattern is disturbed, if the person is having or willing to have a food or not. Okay. Other thing is, if what is the change in the behavior? If the person is very aggressive suddenly, if the person is acting completely different, is not willing to do activities. The second question, Netflix binging. If a person is not willing to binge on anything, there is a matter. There is going on with mental health. And what is going on with mental health has to be found out by professionals. But before that, you have to jump in the situation and you need to go up and you need to talk out. Just tell that person that how are you today? It will start the conversation. If the person wants to cry, just let them cry out. It will be the first starting step. You don't need to, think about it. You need to go and act. What do you think, Sakshi?
Absolutely. And I would add to that, I always say, first of all, try and lead with example. So try to fill your own cup first before you do anything else, because when your cup is half full or not even half there, you would not even have the space to look out for anybody else. And that's what is happening with most of us, because we're ourselves kind of almost empty, that the emotional intelligence that we need to have for each other is not there, because we ourselves are not able to understand what's going on and not able to give ourselves proper break, rest, and pauses. So I would say um, first is to fill your own cup. So learn about, again, I would go back to what I said previously. Become more curious and learn about your mind, learn about how your body works, learn about how they both integrate, learn about mental health, just so that you can start leading with example. The more settled you are in your house, the more attention you can give to other people when they talk to you. Because when you are so occupied with your own thoughts, when you're so occupied with your own self, when you're so occupied with your own issues and not able to get out of them, then even if there are people in front of you suffering, all you would tell to yourself is, you know what, my hands are too full. And again, nobody is wrong here, which is why I always say, fill your own cup first so that you can serve somebody else as well. So I think the more you become aware, the more you slow down a little bit to see what's happening, to even those small steps of learning how to just do nothing in a day. How do I just help myself not to overthink? If you don't have information, YouTube, go attend courses. But getting yourself first on track is very important, because unless you do that, your sense of looking at somebody else and reading their emotions would also go down. And there's a lot of chance for you to mix up your own things with somebody else when you're yourself in a mess. So I always say, slow down, help yourself, and a lot of times your family and friends learn from you with example. When they look at you doing things and consistently working towards your health, mental health, physical health, having goals in life, you become an example automatically. And then they look at you, and then they kind of open up more, because they see you as person who is most settled in himself or herself. So I would say, start with yourself, and you will naturally see that helping others would become a lot more easier and natural process when you're more settled within yourself. So what do you think,
Yes,
Maliha?
definitely. Start, always there's a saying that start with yourself.
I think it's
Definitely.
not selfish.
And
It's really
yeah.
the need of the hour to serve and be of service to your family or friends. But unless you have that space, unfortunately, you will not be able to give or pour out in somebody else's cup. It's not selfish. It's, for me, it's really common sense now.
Yes.
You won't be able to serve anybody else unless you're more settled in yourself.
And now that you all also are aware about the behavioral changes and what can be, symptoms that you have to notice, you can notice them in yourself too.
To
So
start
maybe
with,
begin now.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Start with yourself, be the change you want to see. As simple as that. Once you start changing, things around you automatically, slowly, gradually will take its own shape through your help. But first is you.
I'd like to inform the audience that we'll be taking the last two questions of the day. So please hurry up, put in your questions in the chat box. Right, now we have the next question. As a country, where would you say we stand concerning the mental health scenario? And what are the significant challenges people of your profession face here?
Okay, could you
Okay.
repeat the first line? Sorry, I missed that
Yeah,
first line.
sure. As a country, where would you say we stand concerning the mental health scenario?
Mhm.
And what are the significant challenges people of your profession face here?
You know what? No country can be compared. actually. If we see like that, then Western country is more aware about the mental health and not our country, then I would deny the fact. Yes, they are aware, but also there are regions in the Western countries where there is no, even if they are aware, but there is no such services for them. Okay, and most of the time it happens that even there are services, there is everywhere there is a financial issue that is happening. So even if in our country, I believe it is equally, it is equally standing, and I think that only there is a need for slight improvement. Though everyone is aware in this country, only the hesitation, which we call as a mental health taboo, so only there is a hesitation actually that for people or any individual would think, if I go to this clinic, what if somebody sees me and what would they think? That am I a psycho? Am I crazy? No, you're not crazy. There's just a mental health issue, just like physical health, it's mental health. So only the thinking needs to be changed. Other than that, I think it's sorted.
True. And I think where we stand as a country in terms of mental health, now I wouldn't probably say that it's it's looking very positive. Can't really say that, but I'm not going to probably compare it with any other country as well, because again, there's a lot of factors that influence, the context that we're discussing. But challenges, as a practitioner, is what exactly what Maliha said. And since I'm a coach, still anything to do with mental health, people would literally go through anything but to approach and to be looked as vulnerable to a therapist or a coach, or people of our profession. So I think, yes, we're still, that basic still needs a lot of work. That just as your physical health is there, you fall sick and you go to a doctor. I'm just looking forward to the day where it becomes so casual that you just don't think twice before going to a coach, therapist, psychologist. I think that is one of the challenges, and it recently happened to me when um, so a client outside India who had to do some recommendations. It just that person could not talk to somebody else because he thought that if he would, that question would come down to he's not mentally okay. And even though I could explain him, but it's just that I know how probably the majority of the society still thinks. So the challenge comes down to a point that the basics are still not sorted. We're still looked as, if somebody has really gone crazy or cuckoo, and that's why you're going there. I think when the basics will get sorted, our challenges of this sort will naturally go away. But for now, I think one of the challenges that we face is to even make the client feel like it's okay to come to us. It's absolutely fine. It's absolutely normal. I think I would be pretty much okay to share. I have a coach that I work with, so it's not like it's it's the way you look at it, and that's exactly what she said. That when you start to consider your mental health just like your physical health, I think a lot would change in our lives. But I think let's hope that all of us put together are working towards that one vision of making mental health as obvious as it really is. So, in terms of challenges, it is about the perception that they hold and the kind of fear that they hold to come to us. And another challenge that I would say as a professional is quick results. Like when I come to you, like in 2-3 days, everything should be just fine. So one of the challenges is like, hold on, you took X number of years to make your mind in a certain way. Now it's going to take some more time for any sort of practitioner to help you get to a certain level. So I think one is understanding that it is normal, and second is understanding, just like a physical health, you don't build your muscles just in 2 days. So just like the effort that goes in physical health, imagine mental health is a bit more complex topic. So again, more understanding, and I think more awareness would just help to help us practitioners to help more people, let's say.
Yes, as I mentioned in my talk as well, that
Hmm.
when you change your perception
Absolutely.
about things, about situations, the things will turn better. For
Yes.
the freshers who don't know what exactly perception is, it's a mental health term basically. So I'll just translate it. जब नजरिया बदलोगे तब सारी चीजें ठीक हो जाएगी.
The way you look at things, basically. Yeah.
Yes.
So we have the last question of the day. When somebody feels stressed out, angry, or fearful, it's hard to look at the situation realistically and look at all of the options one has. How can we ease through this process and diffuse such a situation?
Okay, so I think first and the foremost would be uh, for you to have a little bit of reflection in terms of where, which people, and with whom do you really get angry. Let's say I'm just taking one emotion. So it's good to look at if there are specific people, specific times, specific um, area, specific locations. It could be something common that could be triggering you or triggering that emotion in you. So I think it's good to look at some sort of commonality. And you're absolutely right that handling anger and all these emotions, it takes time. But first step is to understand the cause behind it and to know which, where exactly, with what person, what topic, and what exactly is triggering you. Why are you exactly getting so agitated or angry on something? So when you get to the reasons, you would automatically understand and be able to somehow anticipate and visualize as well that next time if it comes, this is the way I'm going to handle. So somewhere, unless you look back and reflect of where, how, with whom, and what topics and why exactly, so a little bit of reflection on that, it's a very gradual process. I never say that once reflection starts, oh my god, next time you are in the conversation with that X person, you're not going to be getting angry. No, that's not the scene. You do your reflection, you go through our understanding of why it happened, what triggered you, who specifically, where, which situation. So you have the whole idea about why it happened, and you do a little bit of practicing in your head that okay, I know I have a problem with this topic, this person, it happens. So you prepared and prime your mind so that next time when it comes again, I would definitely recommend visualization of how you would be in that situation again, and what would you do differently. Prime your mind so that it knows and it gets prepared to enact in a different way. And caution, first 2 3 4 times you will disappoint yourself because you're going to again do the stuff, because patterns are not easy to break. If there's something that triggers you every time you speak to your parents because they talk about a specific topic and you're practicing this, probably next time also you're going to get triggered and you do it again, you do it again. You keep trying, you keep going on. Each time you will notice that the intensity would come down, the rebounds time would reduce. So it's not like totally anger would vanish. It's just that your duration, your awareness in that situation would increase, and your reaction will gradually start to decrease once you have an idea about what, who, when, and why exactly. Gradually, that intensity would reduce, but with awareness. First, you need to know what's happening, why, with whom, and all that basic information just to understand. And again, it will lead to a lot more self-awareness. But I would say then preparing your mind to see next time if it happens, this time I did this, next time I'm going to just keep quiet and listen and maybe walk away from that situation. Even if you say next time 2 extra words and walk away, it's an achievement. I always tell my clients, don't expect you to perfect everything in one go. That's absolutely wrong expectations to have. So understand yourself, understand in what situations, what is triggering you. I would definitely and highly suggest visualization of how would you do it differently next time so that you're more prepared. Just in case this happens again, okay, how am I going to react? How would I want to respond actually? and then your mind will know how to do and what to do at that time, because you've already kind of primed your mind with it. So I would probably say, and waiting for Maliha to share her insight on that.
I know, tough name. Okay. Yes, the example you mentioned, okay, the that healing takes time. It won't, like, breaking the pattern is not something that will happen in a day. I agree to that. And you know, by the time when you are still healing, when I agree to the question also that you feel very hesitant during this whole situation, during when the mental health is disturbed, actually you are not okay, you feel very much disturbed. But I also mentioned a term at the beginning, actually, during the start of my talk, about negative thoughts, right? So any disorder, any mental issue occurs actually from your thoughts. What are your thought patterns? Is it negative? Is it positive? Of course, positive thoughts are helping you motivate, but negative thoughts are actually utilizing in your mental health issue. So just do one thing. By the time you are frustrated, you don't know what you have to do, just write down your thoughts. I would suggest reread them, analyze them, get to know which ones are negative thoughts, which one are positive. And next time when such similar situation occurs or any stressful situation occurs, your brain will be aware, your mind will be aware about the fact that what kind of thoughts come to your mind and which ones are negative. Next time, you won't bother to overthink on it. And your mental health issue is, of course, solving by its own self when you begin with something. So start.
And obviously, the caution that, whenever you hear practitioners and experts talking, it's always the higher level things, and exactly why you go and see practitioners to, if you need help, step by step to go through things, because that requires a lot of one-to-one attention. But I hope we were able to give at least some sort of a kickstart to the thought process that side.
And with that, we've come to the end of today's conference. We hope it was an enlightening experience, which leaves you feeling more hopeful and inspired. We hope to see you again next time. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to place on record our hearty thanks to Dr. Maliha and Sakshi for the perfect guidance they have extended to all of us on this occasion. The entire team of TEDxDTU would also extend a hearty thanks to the entire faculty. We've been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated members.
Thank you so much, team. Thank you so much for the
Thank you so
invitation, and
much.
thank you so much for everybody who's watching.
Yes, thank you so much for having us. And I hope that everything that we have mentioned throughout the talk and throughout the Q&A, I hope everybody utilizes it well, because you have to anyway begin from somewhere. So maybe now is your time. Maybe you have to start now.